This is why the New York Giants heading into the 2025 season should have a top 5 defensive line in the league. Now, we know they just escaped the draft. We know they added, some guys at free agency. What are the biggest names? If you didn't know, Abdul Carter coming out of Penn State, looking like a Micah Parsons 2.0, is a guy that's going to come into this defense and immediately improve this team, immediately make an impact. You add him alongside of Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeaux, a rotational pass rush that should be top of the league, no doubt about it, when you already have a guy in Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence, I don't even need to do a deep dive on him. Best defensive tackle in the league. The guy was leading the league in sacks the first couple weeks into the season before he went down with an injury. If you expect a full season out of Dexter Lawrence alongside Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and Abdul Carter, at that point you would just be expecting any output from other guys like a Chauncey Golston coming out of Dallas last year, free agent pickup, and then you also draft Darius Alexander coming out of Toledo. We added some bodies, we added some competition to this D-line, but if you look at the stats that we were able to put up last year, it's kind of surprising, especially when you think about how the year went, how many games we won, and how much of a difference it felt like on the field. The Giants ranked 8th, tied for 8th in sacks last year, which is crazy. I mean, if you think about what Brian Burns was doing when he was playing hurt all year, Kayvon Thibodeaux missed a good piece of time, Dexter Lawrence missed a good piece of the second half of the year, we finished 8th. Like, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, especially when you consider how many times the team was just running all over us. And that was the recipe for a disaster for the New York Giants last year on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, when you look at their stats, for them to be top 8 in sacks, but then also give up 136 yards a pop every single game, which was bottom 6 in the league, I don't expect this team to have that many sacks because they weren't put in situations where they can get after the quarterback. Brian Burns is one of the young stars in this league that should be emerging and should already be there as a top edge rusher. We know that. And I think Brian Burns had an underrated year last year. I tell everyone he was playing hurt all year and he still put up, I believe, 8 sacks, 9 sacks. The first time in a little while that he hasn't had double-digit sacks. Kayvon Thibodeaux did break, I think he had a fracture in his forearm or something that was going on where he missed some time. So a full year of Kayvon Thibodeaux should be a lot better as well on this defensive side, but Abdul Carter is going to be the game changer, the piece that's going to be everywhere. I mean, when you look at the insight that the Giants were providing on their videos, they were asking Abdul Carter, like, hey, how many positions are you looking to play? We could put you in 7 different spots. And Abdul was like, you can add more. I can see the Giants using this guy all over the field, whether he's going to be an off-ball linebacker, blitzing in the A-gap, blitzing on the outside. They're going to use Abdul Carter everywhere and let him probably play free. That's what it's looking like it's trending towards, and that's going to create so much havoc for the offensive side of the ball on the other side. It really is. When you think about having Dexter Lawrence in the middle of the field, obviously being that nose tackle, Brian Burns out there, I think Brian Burns is going to have a double-digit sack year, guys. I think that's for sure penciled in. Kayvon Thibodeaux, once again, I mean, a lot of people are not liking what he's done in terms of being the number 5 overall pick, but I do think Kayvon Thibodeaux has the chance to still be a good pass rusher in this league. And once again, that just creates more of a rotation for this team. Chauncey Golston, once again, can he be better than the defensive tackles that we saw this past couple years? I think so. I think there's a chance that you can take advantage of one-on-one matchups. Dexter Lawrence is seeing 2 guys every play. Every play they're trying to double team Dexter Lawrence. This should be a team. This should be a place where this defensive line has to start winning. And that's not even looking at the other additions that this Giants team made, which I think is going to couple up with this defensive line. When you look at what happened last year, they ran all over us. So teams weren't dropping back. Teams weren't airing out the ball. The Giants actually ranked, I believe, 25th in allowing pass yards. So they were actually kind of towards the top of the league when it came to that. But that was because the Giants weren't letting guys get it through the air. They were letting them get it all on the ground, running the ball everywhere on the New York Giants. So I think there's a chance that if this team switches up that dynamic, makes a team more balanced, there's a chance the Giants team could be pretty solid. We added guys like Paulson Adebo to play DB. You got Deonte Banks, who was pretty much taking wide receiver 1s. He's going to start covering the second best wide receivers on the team. That should help. And as we know, the NFC East is loaded at the wide receiver position. We know that already. But to have a guy like Paulson Adebo to potentially lock down one side and be a game changer with the turnovers, man. The Giants team ranked dead last, second to dead last in interceptions last year. That can't happen again. We need some turnovers on this team. You add a guy like Javon Holland on the back end, a guy that was a ball hawk down there in Miami, who's known to obviously just shut things down on the back end. You need that, especially when you're pairing up with a second-year safety in Tyler Nubin. Tyler Nubin was a rookie last year. He flashed some good moments. He also had some bad ones, but I think Tyler Nubin is the X factor for this team heading into next year. And let's not even talk about the linebacker core, man. Micah McFadden and Bobby Okereke, listen, they had, kind of a stalemate year last year. I think Bobby Okereke is going to play better this upcoming year. And all in all, if you couple all those things together, the Giants D-line just needs to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. If the DB room can stand up, if they can affect what a quarterback is going to do, make them pump fake, make them potentially hesitate in terms of throwing a pass, and this Giants defensive line has more of a chance to get after the quarterback, you're going to see these sack numbers even get crazier. And that's with a bottom barrel of the team. Like, this team was bad all last year. They were letting teams run all over them and still put up 45 sacks. That's something that this team is potentially going to do even better for. And I know what everyone's saying right now. Shane Bowen. It's all up to Shane Bowen and what he's going to do. Listen, I also play devil's advocate when it comes to that. These players need to play. Obviously, you want to play players in the right schemes, but Abdul Carter being drafted at 3, I don't care how we utilize him. He needs to be making a difference on the field. Dexter Lawrence, it doesn't matter what kind of scheme you put him in. If you put him in front of another offensive lineman, he's pushing that offensive lineman into the quarterback. These players need to play. I'm over the scheme-dependent stuff. I'm over not utilizing the players properly. They need to fight, honestly, for their right to be in this league. A Deontay Banks heading into year 3. I know he's hungry. I know it's going to be a lot for him to be a corner and potentially still be on this team after next year. This year is super important for him. As a CB2, you're not tasking against a guy like CeeDee Lamb. You shouldn't be lined up against other guys in this league, maybe like an AJ Brown. Deontay Banks should be stepping up, especially if you're not asking him to cover the best wide receiver on the other side of the ball. That should be way better. Javon Holland stepping in from Miami, getting his Giants obviously splash when it came to his contract. He was not looked at as great last year in Miami. Miami didn't sign him. The team that drafted him didn't bring him back. He should be playing with a chip on his shoulder. And overall, when it comes to this New York Giants team, he should make that difference. Because guess what? We're looking at him like Xavier McKinney. Same draft class, I believe, or around the same draft class as Xavier McKinney. He's coming in, getting paid. He's going to have to play up to that for sure. Paulson Adebo coming off of the Saints, coming off of a broken leg. People probably counting him out. He probably missed a couple $1 million because of what happened. Paulson Adebo should be stepping in with a chip on his shoulder overall. And this Giants defense, once again, Giants defense borderline should be top 10. But this defensive line, there's no excuses. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter, there's no excuses. Top 5 defensive line in the league. Book it. We'll be diving into more of these players and more into these stats as the weeks progress. Once again, if you like the Giants content, make sure you subscribe down below. If you like NFL content, this is the place for you as well. Subscribe, man. I will catch you guys on the next one. Stay tuned. Tomorrow night, I will be jumping on live as well. So I'll be looking to catch you guys there. Top 5 defensive line. Let me know. Am I tripping or am I not? Let me know down below.